Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard the average person works, no matter how many hours they put in, no matter how many years go by, they never seem to break free from the cycle of just getting by, and why only a small group of people ever cross over into real wealth? The truth is, the numbers tell us everything we need to know, and if you pay attention to them, you will see clearly why the average person will never be rich. Not in 2025. Not ever, unless they change everything about how they think about money, because the system is set up in a way that guarantees the ordinary person will remain ordinary, and once you see these statistics laid out, the picture becomes darker and more terrifying than you ever imagined. Let us start with income, because income is the foundation, and yet even here, the cracks are massive. The median income for a full-time worker is just over $1,000 per week, which comes out to about $52,000 per year. And maybe you hear that number and think it is not so bad. Maybe you even think that sounds decent. But once you break it down into reality, it is almost nothing at all, because that is before tax, before deductions, before health insurance and retirement contributions, if those even exist, and suddenly that $52,000 becomes $45,000 or less in real money you can spend, which is about $22 an hour for someone giving their life to a job. And this is the foundation the average person is building wealth on. Except it is not wealth, it is survival. And barely that. Now compare it to spending, and the nightmare begins, because the average household spends more than $5,500 a month, which is $67,000 a year, on basic living, housing, food, transportation and bills. And if you are paying attention, you already see the problem. The average person makes less than what the average household spends, which means every single year there is a hole tens of thousands of dollars deep. And how is that hole being filled? With debt, the silent destroyer that eats away at every chance the average person might have had to escape. Debt is not just a number, it is a trap that compounds in the wrong direction, and it ensures that the more time passes, the deeper the average person sinks. Credit card debt is the clearest example. The average household owes more than $9,000 on their cards, and the interest rates are brutal. 15%, 20%, even 25%, which means that every single year the banks are sucking away thousands of dollars from people who can barely make ends meet. Money that could have been invested, money that could have been compounding toward wealth, is instead compounding toward poverty. And this one fact alone is enough to explain why the average person is stuck, because even when they think they are moving forward, their interest payments are pulling them backward faster than they can walk. And yet debt is only one part of the tragedy, because then we look at savings, and the numbers are even more horrifying. The median retirement savings for all adults is just $65,000. Imagine that, after decades of work, after sacrificing years of their life, the average adult has less saved than the cost of a luxury car. $65,000 at a 4% withdrawal rate is only $2,600 a year to live on. That is not retirement, that is starvation. And remember, this number only applies to people who even have retirement accounts, because 1 in 4 adults has none at all, which means $0 for the future, zero chance of comfort, zero chance of freedom. But the real problem is that there is a solution to all this, but people continue to ignore it and continue to complain that everything is going wrong, when literally YouTube is on easy mode now and it blows up all the channels that do things right, as I explain in my free Telegram community with the link below. And if you break it down by age, it becomes even clearer. Adults under 25 have less than $2,000 saved. Those between 25 and 34, just over $14,000. Those near retirement, around $88,000. And yet the experts say that a household needs at least $500,000 in retirement savings just to be somewhat comfortable. And most will never come close to this number, because the gap is too wide, the habits are too weak, and the time is running out too fast. Then there is Social Security, the safety net everyone counts on. But the reality is that the average benefit is about $1,550 per month, which in many cities does not even cover rent, forget food or healthcare or transportation, and if you earned little during your life, your benefit will be even less. So how is the average person supposed to survive on this? They cannot. which is why so many people in their 60s and 70s are still working, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. And this is where lifestyle comes into play, because the spending patterns of the average household guarantee their financial prison. Housing alone takes 1/3 of their budget, nearly $2,000 a month gone instantly. Transportation adds $900, food another $700, and suddenly, almost everything they earn is already spent before they even think about savings or investing. And so they live paycheck to paycheck, every month a little deeper in the hole, every year a little further from freedom. And it is not bad luck, it is a design that repeats itself, because people are trained to follow the same script: house, car, debt, consumerism, and then shock when retirement comes and there is nothing there. And here is the most damning statistic of all. The average savings rate in the United States is only 6% of income. That means if you make $50,000 a year, you are saving maybe $3,000. And most of that will be spent on emergencies like car repairs or medical bills, which leaves almost nothing for retirement or investments. Experts say you need 10 to 15%, at least just for retirement, but the average person cannot even manage 6%. So they are permanently behind, and because they start late, because they invest little, because they stop and start, compounding never has the chance to work its magic for them. While the wealthy let decades of compounding explode their money, the average person squanders their only weapon. Net worth paints the final picture. The median household net worth is $122,000, which includes your house, your car, your belongings, and when you break it down, for those under 35 it is less than $14,000. For 35 to 44, it is $91,000. For mid-50s, it is about $168,000, and it peaks near retirement at $266,000. And yet most of this is tied up in home equity, not in liquid assets, not in investments, not in anything that generates cash flow. So when retirement comes, the average person realizes they own things, but they cannot live on them, and they are forced to sell their homes or downsize or live in constant stress. And all of this is magnified by inflation, because every year the dollar loses value, and the average person, with their tiny savings account earning 1% interest, is actually losing money every single day, while inflation is 3 or 4%. The wealthy understand this, and they put their money in assets that grow faster than inflation: stocks, businesses, real estate, and so their gap widens with every passing year, while the average person sinks deeper into the quicksand of time and devaluation. And then we come to retirement age itself. The average is 61, but full social security benefits do not come until 67. So many people retire before they can even access their full benefits. And with savings so small, what are they supposed to live on during those years in between? They cannot. Which is why so many do not retire at all. They keep working well into their 70s. Not out of passion, but out of desperation. So when we ask why the average person will never be rich, the answer is in every one of these numbers. They earn just enough to survive. They spend more than they make. They save too little. They invest almost nothing. They live on credit. They believe their house is enough. They pray that Social Security will rescue them. They don't build their YouTube channel. But hope is not a strategy. And statistics do not lie. The habits are wrong. The math is wrong. The mindset is wrong. And that is why year after year, decade after decade, the average person stays average, while the gap between them and the rich grows so wide it becomes impossible to cross. And the most painful part is that it is all avoidable, because the wealthy are not magicians. They simply do the opposite. They live below their means. They avoid toxic debt. They save far more than 6%. They invest consistently for decades. They think in terms of compounding, not consumption. And they focus on assets, not liabilities. They opens their YouTube channel. Think about it. If you've made it this far, it means the strategies I explain in my free Telegram community work, right? So what are you waiting for? Get started. And because they do this, the numbers work in their favor, while for the average person, the numbers destroy them. So now you have to ask yourself, will you keep following the script that has trapped millions? Will you keep spending every dollar? Will you keep swiping the card? Will you keep saving almost nothing and hoping that something magical will happen? Or will you break free because the statistics of 2025 are not just numbers on a page? They are warnings. They are flashing red lights. They are the truth that explains why the average person will never be rich. And if you do not change, you will be one of them. Start by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Then let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to escape the average trap, and I'll see you soon. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.